Coming up this week on the OK Bloomer podcast.
Something I never even thought about when we began this journey is if Blossom would do Christmas episodes that resonated with me and became part of that always growing list of Christmas specials I have to watch each year. So did this one?
No.
You know, I thought Buzz was going to be, I need you to take the fall for this doll face.
Yeah. I need you to swallow this dime bag, Blossom. He's flying like the Wright brothers plane.
Buzz is just flying the plane, yelling like racist things for no reason at all.
I just picture him with like that leather hat and the scarf.
Like the Red Baron.
Yeah. I feel like he would just wear that without the plane. Like he would just walk into their house wearing that exact outfit.
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Dick on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
Man, seeing palm trees is just the greatest thing ever.
Right?
When you first get there and you see palm trees, there's nothing like it. It's so hard to explain, but yeah.
Well,
That's
I mean,
honestly
coming from where
my
we
favorite
come
part
from
of
and
the
then
trip.
going to see palm trees, you just feel happy seeing palm trees all the time.
You feel so happy.
Yeah.
And your just skin feels better in that moisture.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's good stuff. And
Yeah,
now
Florida.
I'm back, and I am a f***ing disaster again.
What's up?
Oh, nothing, man. I have got no notes for this. I'm going in cold.
What?
Is that cold? Is that... I don't know.
Going in cold?
I don't know. I'm going in with no...
Do you want to wait?
No, man. Let's do it.
Are you sure? All right, man. No fear.
I'm gonna take your lead on this, though, but I'm ready to go. Let's talk Christmas in March.
I'm ready. I love Christmas, Sal. You know that. I have a giant compilation of Christmas specials I need to watch every December or Christmas doesn't feel like Christmas.
I do too,
I was so excited. For it's something I never even thought about when we began this journey, is if Blossom would do Christmas episodes that resonated with me and became part of that always growing list of Christmas specials I have to watch each year. So did this one? Spoiler, no.
No.
However, I really liked how odd of an episode this was. This was not a typical Christmas episode of a 90s sitcom, but it also wasn't trying to be the opposite of what a typical 90s Christmas sitcom episode was either. I don't know what the hell they were trying to do, but I really enjoyed it.
I'll tell you what it was. This was just a bad episode of television in general.
Really? You didn't... Nothing appealed to you for this?
It was called It's a Marginal Life, Season 2, Episode 13. First aired December 16th, 1991. And I gotta say, it was a pretty marginal episode.
I thought it had a uniqueness to it that it made no sense.
Yeah.
Like,
a
there was
uniqueness
no...
in the sense of it was just poorly written and poorly acted and just not a good episode of TV.
I didn't notice... I did notice the acting. I couldn't tell if the script was just lazy or if they were just trying something really hard that didn't land. It almost felt like kind of a middle finger in some ways of what everyone else was doing at the time and what you'd expect from a, traditional sitcom Christmas special.
Yeah.
Because it was just weird, man. It was weird. Nothing really connected. Nothing played out.
No.
Nothing made sense.
No, it was not good. It wasn't a good episode. In my opinion.
It was shining.
In my opinionation.
It shone a spotlight on the worst traits some of the characters have, which is not what you'd expect in a Christmas episode. It was all over the map. Let's do it. Let's jump in.
Well, since I have no notes, I can't specifically tell you at what point it was, but maybe you'll jog my memory as we go through. But you know how normally we give out our acting props for the week?
Yep.
I think Mayim gets the acting thumbs down for this episode.
Wow.
There was just moments that she had where her reactions just seemed so forced and fake, and
Well,
it was just,
I
it
don't
really
think
stood out to me. It just was not, and Nick was really bad in this episode too.
Nick was really bad. I was gonna give big thumbs down to Nick, but
Yeah.
I think Mayim just didn't know what to do with the plot because there's
Yeah.
nowhere it lands. Everything just happens. Like Six just disappears.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so this episode was written by Don Rio, and I feel like the last time he had a solo episode that he wrote himself, it tanked.
It was a dumpster fire?
It was
Yeah,
a really
that's
bad
fair.
episode as well. So maybe there's something to be said about that.
If this wasn't a Christmas episode, I will agree with you. It was a bad episode, but the fact that this was the first kick at the can for a Blossom Christmas episode, and they managed to drop every ball possible,
Right?
kind of made me respect it in a little way.
Well, it's getting me excited now to talk about it because just how bad it is.
This is gonna be your rockumentary. I'm gonna bring you around.
You might. Let's find out.
All right.
Let's
Well,
go
you
over
did-
this for the next hour.
You didn't take notes, but which is the first one we do?
Oh, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. That's
I did
right,
take notes on
remember.
this. So Disney Plus.
right.
This is a really bad description as well. Disney
Oh,
Plus
I'm
says,
doing the Home Alone shock face.
Nick moonlights for Christmas money, then goes on strike.
Yeah, that's not what the episode's about at all.
No, and then I feel like the TV database tried to oversell the episode. Just went the complete opposite direction in this, and it doesn't do the episode any justice when you actually watch it. The Russos spend a turbulent Christmas. It isn't a wonderful life for Nick as Christmas approaches, since a musician strike forces him to take a gig in a mall organ store.
They really zone in on the getting a gig at a mall organ store, which was about 3 minutes of the whole episode.
Yeah, right.
That's really bizarre. Yeah.
But I love how it says the Russos spend a turbulent Christmas. I wouldn't describe it as that.
No. So I fired up the old imdb.com, and
Let's
It's a
hear it.
Marginal Life. Yeah, December 16th, 1991. Only got a 7.0. That's one of the lowest rating ones we've done so far.
There you go,
Out
man.
of 44 votes. Quote, with the shortage of jobs due to a musician's strike, Nick takes a low-paying job at a mall playing Christmas music. Again, they think the
Again on
focus
the
of
mall.
the episode is his humiliating job of playing Christmas songs at the mall, which I gotta say, spoiler, that doesn't seem like that's that humiliating to me. I don't know. I guess
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Especially
we'll
considering
get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it. But
All
yeah,
right. Take us to the top,
See-
man. I'm following your lead.
Okay, we have one of the worst cold opens I think we've ever had in the show. It
Yeah.
did not start out well.
No,
Nick's
it wasn't
teaching
completely
Blossom to
disconnected from the
drive.
episode, but it was just there was no real punchline and really short and just weird.
I felt like this was supposed to be in the middle somewhere, but they had to cut it for time and then decided to put it in the intro.
Yeah.
So it's the standalone scene where Nick is teaching Blossom to drive.
Yes.
And he's completely overacting, and they're in front of a terrible green screen. And
Was that a green screen
already...
or was she actually driving?
No, it was totally a green
I don't know, because there
screen.
was like shadows of the trees on the hood of the car that I noticed, and like it looked looked
really?
like they were actually driving, and like they were turning corners and stuff. I don't know,
Oh,
but
maybe.
the way that
Maybe.
she was spinning the wheels seemed like maybe she wasn't driving.
Something in my mind didn't quite line up with that.
It looked odd, but it didn't look like a Seinfeld green screen when they're driving. Like the camera was kind of wider, you could see more of the car, and like I don't know.
Yeah, but I think they never do real driving scenes because it's impossible to keep the actors' faces lit properly.
Right. Well, she was driving later because there was a shot outside the car of her pulling over.
Yeah. Huh. I have to admit, I did not put too much thought into this. I just assumed 1991 driving was a green screen. But hey, maybe I'm not giving them enough credit.
I don't know.
Maybe they mounted a red headlight on the hood of the car, shining right back into Blossom's eyes, with no glare off the windshield at all as she drove and took bad corners.
And that wasn't
Maybe.
acting. That wasn't acting on Nick's part. That was real.
Maybe holy crap, you blew my mind. Maybe that's why this scene was so bad, is because they weren't acting.
Right?
This is it.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote, already I feel this is out of character because Blossom is a rules follower and she would have that locked down at 10 and 2. Blossom would be a good driver, would she not?
What was the ending joke of this cold open? I feel
so
like it was
cars are
another
honking.
quick cut into the intro.
Cars are honking for no reason because she's not doing anything wrong.
Right.
Then she parks in the middle of the street and Nick has peed himself and he says, "Good job, honey." That's the payoff.
Right.
Is that she's a terrible driver and almost killed everyone. And he just kind of let it happen and made peace with his maker. I don't know. It didn't make any sense. I definitely, as the intro hit, I was like, sigh, it's going to be a long half hour.
Yeah. Yeah. This was just the start of it. But this was also just the start of like Nick's really over the top acting.
Yep.
And I almost forgot about how over the top it was in the cold open.
Super. So the intro starts, it asks if I want to skip the intro, and I'm wondering if I want to skip the whole damn episode.
You're turning on it now.
But I do not. No, it won me over, trust me. We'll get there.
All right.
But we're definitely starting like 5 notches below 0 at this point, because that
Yeah.
cold open was stupid.
Yeah, it was bad.
Terrible.
It was no good.
And I noticed for the first time when she does that front flip in Dead Agnes' sweater, she's also wearing a fringe belt like Rocky Maivia did.
Like a weight
I don't know
belt?
if she's a... No, it's like this like fringe. There's like a whole bunch of like triangles pointing down from her belt.
Oh,
Like,
yeah?
remember when Rocky Maivia first came out and he was paying respect to his Hawaiian heritage?
Yeah,
He wore
yeah.
those blue like triangles. They're like that, only brown and black.
Amazing.
So I was like, die, Blossom, die.
I was going to say,
Blossom,
die, Blossom, die. Die, Blossom, die.
I hope anyone listening to this is a wrestling fan, era 1997, and gets that reference, because it's amazing. The Rock, seriously, owes his entire Hollywood career to smart-ass fans like you and I, Sal.
Right?
Like, 100%. He came out as the dumbest babyface, like the good guy, and everyone booed the crap out of him, and that was where he developed the Rock persona and became a movie star, so he's welcome. Dwayne Johnson, if you're listening, you're welcome that I booed you back in the day.
I went to a Monday Night Raw, and I think he had a dark match. He faced
And
the
he's
Sultan.
like, hey, I'm so happy to be here. I'm smiling and hugging people, and the crowd's just like, die, Rocky, die.
Yeah.
So good. So
Amazing.
good. And now he could buy and sell me like 1 billion times over.
Oh my God, yeah.
Good for him,
So
though.
you know, if you're listening, maybe sponsor this podcast. Throw us some of that
Yeah.
money. Buy us a truck.
I think when he came out for the opening of the Super Bowl this year, you could see him take his like AirPods out. He was definitely listening to OK Bloomer right before. Like that
Yeah.
that was getting him psyched up.
Yeah, that's what he listens to when he works out.
He was like, "Oh no, Joey, don't be doing that. Don't be hiding that porn under your mattress, Joey. No. Whoa. Anyway, I was telling you that to tell you this. When she does her front flip at Dead Angus's sweater in the intro, she's wearing fringe like Rocky Maivia. Too Many Cooks takes us to the kitchen, and Buzz is concerned as Six quizzes Blossom about her driving test. But it turns out, instead of asking a question about driving, Sal, she asks, who's hotter, Jason Priestley or Luke Perry? And fun fact, in Rockumentary Blossom's Fantasy World, she dated both of them at the same time.
That's right. I remember that callback.
Right? And for the record, the answer is Luke Perry.
But then she asks, it has to be related to driving. So she's like,
Yeah.
well, who's the better driver?
And then Blossom throws Nick under the bus and asks Buzz if he'll take her driving, which I was like, ow, because that's kind of like a father-daughter thing.
Right.
And that's fair. And he goes, sure, that'll be my Christmas present to you. I'll give Nick the earrings. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, because Buzz thinks Nick is gay, right? That's the joke.
Yeah, I mean, that's the underlying tones, but I didn't search that far. I was just like, that's pretty funny. He's going to give Nick earrings now because he's already got a gift for Blossom.
Yeah.
Six hasn't started shopping yet, and Blossom lets us know, hey, don't rush, there's 1 full day left. So are we December 23rd, just to keep track of this random episode? Would that make it December 23rd, Sal?
December
if there's still 1
23rd?
full day of shopping?
Yeah, or I took it. Yeah, I guess if it's the full day, then yeah, it would be the 23rd.
Then Anthony and Joey come in with boxes of Christmas decorations, and I feel that, Sal. I
Right?
feel that, man. My best childhood memories of Christmas, we always had a fake tree, and we kept it in our crawl space,
Right.
which the, like, opening to was in the middle of our hallway. And let me tell you, that like Saturday in December when we're like, hey, let's set up the tree, and my dad would get out the ladder and he'd open up the crawl space and like hand boxes down to us. Oh my God. Best childhood memories.
Yeah, man, there's nothing like that. Getting out the Christmas decorations for the year and putting them up.
You remember the smell.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So this
sure.
made me super happy. I had a
Actually, you know what? That's the one thing that I did like about this entire episode was Joey and Anthony when they were like decorating
Loving
the tree
Christmas.
and yeah, I liked all that stuff.
When I was probably like 7, 8, 9, 10, I had one action figure that I would pack away with the tree each year.
Yeah.
And I could only play with him in December.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'd
That's
always like
hardcore,
build
man.
and I'd always build my like storyline up to his return in December. It was awesome.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Was it a different toy every year?
No, it was the same dude. He was like with the tree.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And then I'd play with my action figures like in the tree, and that was like his place. I look back at like I used to like be super embarrassed about stuff like that I cared that much about like continuity. Like I did stuff like that all the time.
Right.
And now like that I'm a writer, I'm like that makes total sense.
Yeah. That checks out.
Yeah, completely. Now I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I had an action figure that only came out for like 2.5 weeks in December and would like beat the shit out of all my other characters, and they'd get stuck in the tree, and like the angels would be like, you know, holding some of them captive, and he just, I don't know, just would rule for those 2.5 weeks, and then they'd beat him and he'd get packed away, and they'd be like, all right, well, we're never going to see him again. And I'd be like, just you fucking wait. Next December. Just next December, he's coming back. It was like a reoccurring role.
I don't think I
character.
ever played with action figures in a Christmas tree.
Oh, man.
That's pretty crazy.
This is your year. You got a son now. See,
Yeah, I'm
everything
doing
resets. Do it. It's great. Man, the best thing you can ever do is lie on your back under the Christmas tree in the dark and look up. It's freaking amazing.
I can honestly say I've never done that before.
You got to do it, man. I'm telling you.
Well, what do I got? 9 months left to go.
6 immediately throws herself at Joey. And she's like, what do you want for Christmas? And he's like, oh, Miss December. And I know this is supposed to be funny, but I feel really bad for 6. Because Joey has super low standards. Like, all he cares about are looks.
Right.
So every time he's oblivious to 6's advances, it must just be like a self-reminder that she thinks she's ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And I know it's, you know, the age, he probably doesn't even, she's young, so he's probably not interested in her, but at the same time, like, when somebody that shallow, that only cares about looks, can't even figure out that you're attracted to them, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
here,
good for 6, and it's not good for her later on. It comes back around.
It sure does. It's even harsher next time.
Yeah, right?
The ugly hats are working overtime already. Between
my
whatever
God,
Blossom was wearing while driving in the cold open, and now 6 is wearing a pirate hat with a red flower on.
Yeah, that hat was ridiculous. Their outfits in this entire episode were actually pretty insane too.
I didn't track the outfits, but
really?
the hats were so distracting. Yeah, man.
The hats were really bad. But yeah, like we have brought it up before how like Blossom was known for the hat, but like I feel 6 wears hats, the crazy Blossom hats, more than Blossom does. You know?
It must even out later. It's the
I
same
guess
thing
so.
with woe. There was no woes this episode. I thought we were going to be under an avalanche of woes after last episode.
It was a pretty lazy episode.
I wonder if this was shot out of sequence or something.
That could be.
Like because you would think after they clearly established we're going to make Joey the woe guy that they would take a week off, you know?
You think that it would be like every week
For sure.
they'd be doing it because they're probably selling merch by this point.
They get a postcard from Mom, Sal.
That's right.
Gifts are en route. And Joey's like, whoa, she speaks French.
She learned French. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And they learn Mom is banging a painter named Jean-Claude.
That's right. And they don't want to
Which
tell
I
Nick.
thought was a
'cause they don't-
throwaway line, but comes around later.
Does it?
Yeah,
Oh,
in one
okay.
of the weirdest endings to an episode ever.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right?
But yeah,
So
they don't
Buzz-
want Nick to know that the mom has a new boyfriend, so they don't say anything to him.
And then Buzz asks if they're okay with Mom moving on, and they're like, well, yeah, of course. She's an adult, and she's got to get on with her life. And he's like, well, how about your dad?
Yeah.
And immediately I start writing about how much of a troublemaker Buzz is, but then I stop and I'm like, he's right. They freak out every time Dad gets a girlfriend. Like, he's making a good point.
Yeah, that's true.
They shrug about They shrug about Mum moving on, but there's always drama when Nick gets a new girlfriend. The evolution of Buzz still makes me uncomfortable. I feel like he's too far gone for me to suddenly flop and be a fan, but it's kind of happening.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
Right?
it's they really made a shift a few episodes ago, and I feel like they're trying to make him less of a nuisance, less annoying. He still kind of but
yeah, I don't feel it as much though, because they've really backed off on the Buzz bangs women.
well, maybe
thing.
they got some complaints.
They must have had like a focus group,
yeah,
or
it's
something.
Gotta be.
So Nick comes in, he starts just digging into Buzz. He's like, I got a huge gig. And he shoves it in Buzz's face.
Yeah.
And there haven't been many gigs since synthesizers took over the industry. And Buzz asks what the gig is, and he says...
Synthesizers.
That was kind of funny. 'Cause, I don't know, man. Nick's still just, like, super unlikable. You know?
He really was in this episode. And I feel like it wasn't really played up early on in the series, but now it kind of is. Like, every other episode is about how Nick's poor and, like, doesn't really have a job. Like,
well, I think they just ran out of things for Nick to do.
I guess so.
And then Buzz just kind of shrugs. He's like, whatever, let's go driving. And he calls Blossom and Sixth Thelma and Louise. And I laughed out loud at that.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Alone in the kitchen, it goes... Alone in the kitchen, Nick does an awkward dance. And I never noticed how absolutely skinny of a man this actor is until now. When he goes profile, oh my god.
He disappeared.
Pretty much. When he stands next to Buzz, they're like the number 10. The phone rings, and I said to myself, uh-oh, gig's canceled.
Yep.
And guess what, Sal?
You called it.
The gig's canceled.
Yeah,
So
that
we
was...
cut to Blossom. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to... Yeah, so Nick was, like, doing some weird dance in the kitchen, and then he basically just gets shut down right away and finds out that there's a musician's strike. I don't know what that means. Are they in a union? Like, I don't get it.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
How can you be homeless and in a union? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, no. We need to be paid more. I'm not going to play an acoustic version of Wonderwall at your coffee shop tonight. Could you imagine? What are they called? Scabs? People that cross the line?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine how many scabs there would be in the musician world? There would be just like a wave of people like, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll play the same 8 songs they were going to play on my acoustic guitar.
Scab.
Oh, man. White people love acoustic covers. It's great.
That is a very white person thing.
And if you could do like a slow cover that sounds like a drippy ballad of a song that's not originally a drippy ballad, oh man, you got white people eating out of the palm of your hand.
I will say, this is so out of the blue, but I randomly, the lead singer of, what's that band called? Men Without Hats?
Yeah.
He did like an acoustic album, and he does a cover of Land Down Under, and it's like slow and acoustic, and it's actually really good.
Yeah.
You heard
It's
it?
because you're white.
I know, right?
No, man. Rihanna, I think it's Rihanna, did like an acoustic cover of Umbrella, and it's so good. This bad Travis did an acoustic cover of Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Oh my
It's
God.
so good. It's so good. Oh, God. I've lived long enough to become what I hate.
Right? I never thought about that. Yeah, I think acoustic covers are exclusively for white people.
Oh, completely. So we cut to Blossom driving, and she and...
This was great. This was so good.
Six are freaking out and yelling for Grandpa, and this is going on and on and on. They're like, we don't know how to merge Grandpa. What do we do? What do we do? And then we get a shot of Buzz and Shotgun, and he's asleep.
Yeah, that was really good.
See, this is where laughing at old people works.
Right?
I don't want to see a grandpa character whose thing is banging women.
No.
This is what I want in a grandpa character.
Falling asleep while teaching his granddaughter how to drive.
And Blossom's freaking out because Nick said, don't take a main road, and she took a main road.
Yeah.
And now she's being pulled over by the cops. And so, I mean, I guess she sucks at driving after all. I don't know.
Yeah, and then this
And then
shot was like, it was an outside shot of the car pulling over with the cop car behind her, and I'm pretty sure she was driving the car.
Maybe? I wrote, is the cop going to do the repeater? And 6 says, oh, the cop looks cute. And yeah, I bet, because he looks like he's 15 years old.
I know, right?
So he does that. Do you know how fast you're going? And she goes, 70? And he goes, 7.
Yeah, Buzz is
clearly
all like,
wasn't, but...
come on, what's the big deal?
Yeah, Buzz lips him off, and the cop wants to see Buzz's license too. So he hands him his license with a $20 bill stuck to it.
Yeah. I love how the cop wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, and the cop says, and this is a pilot's license. I'm like, so Buzz can fly a plane?
Yeah.
And then we find out his name is Francis.
Francis Richmond.
And then the cop goes all fanboy. He's like, wait, you're not Buzz Richmond, the famous piano player, are you? And the cop's a total jazz freak. And then he lets him go with a warning, and he tells Buzz to drive.
Instead of getting out of the car and going around, he's like, let's just switch. And they like crawl over each other.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird.
So then Buzz says he hasn't driven since the 40s. And does that make sense? I didn't do the math.
Maybe. Yeah, he was probably born in like the 20s.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he'd be in the 7. Yeah, you're right. No, that lines up. And then, so yeah, he says, this is going to be interesting because I haven't driven since the 40s. And then he backs up into the cop car.
Yes.
And didn't you think this was going to be like the important part of the episode?
Yeah, you thought it was going to go somewhere else.
Him bashing into the cop car, not having a license, taking Blossom on a main road when Nick told him not to.
Yeah, and whose car was that, by the way? Because they were driving a station wagon, and I'm pretty sure that's not Nick's car.
Yeah, I don't know what Nick's car was. I didn't...
Wasn't it like a Honda, like a hatchback or something? It was like a really small car. It's always in the driveway. It's that white car that's in the driveway.
That white car, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think what they were driving when they went to the cabin.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was a station.
Idea.
It might have been a station wagon. Anyways, that's... Yeah, so
anyway, but the
you think the scene's going
is...
to go somewhere when he hits the cop car, and then it just fades out.
It doesn't, and that's what made me kind of annoyed, because the thumbnail is them getting pulled over by the cop.
Oh, was it? I don't know if I had that thumbnail.
On IMDb it was, and
okay.
it was, I'm pretty sure, in Disney Plus, that was the thumbnail.
Weird.
So, I thought Buzz was going to be, I need you to take the fall for this, doll face.
Yeah.
I thought that's where this episode was going to go, but turns out they never mention this scene again.
No. I need you to swallow this dime bag, Blossom.
Just so weird.
Yeah.
You just see him flying this, crappy little...
He's flying like the
Wright
brothers plane.
Buzz is just flying the plane, yelling, racist things for no reason at all. Just calling clouds horrible words. Just gets in the zone. He's in his element.
I just picture him with that leather hat and the scarf.
The Red Baron.
Yeah.
Totally.
I feel like he would just wear that without the plane. He would just walk into their house wearing that exact outfit.
So the kids want to pool their money and buy something for Nick for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then Buzz and Nick come in hot, and I'm guessing they're arguing because Buzz smashed the car, but no.
No, they have picket signs. So their music union is on strike.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Could you imagine if buskers went on strike?
Right? No one would care.
Yes. So Buzz is writing Nick about his money problems again.
Yes.
He tries to give Nick money and then takes a jab at his daughter. He's trying to give Nick money, and then Nick says no, and then he's like, you're always a stubborn son of a bitch. That's what my daughter said anyway. I can't remember. It was just okay, we're doing this again.
Yeah, no, just not good. Just not good stuff here.
No, kicking him when he's down is you won't take his money, so then makes fun of how his own daughter left him high and dry.
No wonder you're a piece of shit. My daughter left you.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was hoping you wrote it down, but that's all good. And then
I didn't write anything down.
No transition at all. No transition music. Suddenly, bam, hard cut. Too many cooks. The Mall at Christmas edition.
Yeah, well, there's Nick. What's the line that he says? He says some line at the end, and there's just a hard cut to the mall.
It's probably I'll figure something out.
Yeah, the kids are at the mall, walking around, and
but first, some lady in a green blazer walks by, and I swear on her blazer is the exact same red flower from Six's hat. Like, I swear it's the exact same poinsettia.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I was pointing at the screen like DiCaprio. I was like, oh!
There it is. Don Rio was like, this lady needs something. Quick, give me the wardrobe department. Rips the flower off Six's hat.
He's like, Vonoy, we need you out here. And she's like, oh, am I going to get another theme, Mr. Rio? And he just, like, two-hand pushes her back and knocks the hat off her head. And,
yeah.
Go home, Vonoy.
It's all you're good for.
And also, you're overweight. You might want to think about hitting the gym. And she was like, I'll show you. Because, 5 years later, she'd be, like, ripped beyond. That's where that joke was going.
Was that her thing?
Oh, my God. Haven't you seen pictures of her?
No, man.
Dude, Google her. Her and, like, Joey Lawrence seem to have some sort of weird rivalry about who could be in better shape. Yeah, Jenna Von Oy was in a whole bunch of, like, swimsuit competitions and stuff.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, she's, like, jacked, and I don't think she is anymore because she's, like, older than us, but for a while there, her and Joey Lawrence were, like, two of the hottest human beings in the world.
Right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they ever hooked up?
In real life? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
In real life.
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah. If all that energy spilled out.
Well, we don't even know if they do in the show yet, so.
Yeah, I'm guessing they don't.
I vaguely remember that they do eventually.
Really?
Yeah, I remember, like, yeah.
Whoa.
I remember it happens, but it's later on. It's, like, way later on.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
With, like, last season running out of ideas later on.
Yeah, totally. So,
Yeah.
I mean, as of right now, it's not happening because Joey's still pretty oblivious to Six coming on to him, but they're walking by and they see a mannequin with lingerie on in a window. And then Joey tells Six to try it on. And she's like, oh, really? You'd like to see me in that? He's like, no, I just want to see the mannequin without clothes on.
And Six is like, Joey, she doesn't have a head. And Joey's like, she doesn't need one.
And he's like, with a body like that, she doesn't need one.
And I think the thing the writers didn't really flesh out with this joke is that Six was willing to do this.
Right?
Let's not forget that Six's face lit up and she would have put that thing on so fast for Joey.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the dark underbelly of that joke, but I still enjoyed it. And Joey swaggers away in his 8-ball jacket, and I'm like, this guy.
Right? Oh, I forgot about the 8-ball jacket again, too. Yeah, and then
he just doesn't care.
No. And then he starts bitching about, like, the music and how bad it is. So we know where this is going.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
And it's Nick playing the organ in the mall in a Santa suit. I wrote, how humiliating, I guess.
Right?
I don't know. If I was a musician that was, like, freelance and got paid per gig, I'd be like, hell yeah, that'd be a sweet job. That'd be, like, the highlight of my year, playing Christmas music at the mall.
Yeah, I don't think that would be such a bad gig, you know?
I would love that.
Right?
But then, I mean, I guess the other shoe drops, because Nick's boss is Joey's friend, and I wrote, Skulk? With a question mark the first time they said his name, but it's Skull, right?
Skunk. His name was Skunk.
Skunk. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was Skulk at first.
And was this guy was this guy the original grunge era, man? He had like the flannel tied around his waist.
Backwards hat, Megadeth shirt, flannel tied around his waist. I love this guy.
Right? That's my dude right there. I still dress like that.
Right? I know. Joey just can't get over that his buddy's the manager now.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I have a job? And he goes, sure, you can be assistant manager. What does that position do? Bosses this loser around and points at his dad.
I thought that stuff was good. And like Joey doesn't even stand up for him.
He's like, my dad's a loser. Because again, he's a narcissist, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't care. He's trying to put together how like this will get him laid. That's all the dots.
That's all it ever adds up to for Joey. So yeah, the kids
for sure.
The kids are talking to Nick and they're basically just trying to play it off like, oh, this is really good. Like this is a good opportunity for you and like this is good stuff. And then Six is like the oblivious one in this scene, which is kind of weird. And she makes the comment like, oh, this is really pathetic and embarrassing. It's like, what?
And I'm like, why do you think your dad left, Six?
Yeah. Because of comments like that. But like normally,
maybe it was you. Maybe it was you.
But like even Joey caught on to what they were doing, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, right? Well,
like,
it's because Six didn't have any blood in her head.
Yeah, true. True.
Gal was dehydrated at that point. So the Megadeth says, so they're trying to like pump up Nick's tires and like, no, it's cool. So this is a great gig. And then out of nowhere, Megadeth goes, hey, first Noel, and hit the Calypso button. And he starts playing a Calypso rendition of the first Noel, which is so funny and so 90s because everyone had that keyboard that could do the effects like that.
Oh my god, I had that keyboard, man. Yeah,
I laughed so hard at that. I wrote, this is good stuff. And also, Calypso Silent Night is our Too Many Cooks song. As we go back to Joey and Anthony decorating the tree.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Okay, and then what is this? I didn't get this. This went over my head. So they're decorating the tree, and they're just, like, having fun. They're just happy, and I'm like, I feel this, you know?
This was the best
like,
part. This was the best part of the entire episode.
Just decorating the stupid tree makes me happy.
I know, right? Yeah, same here. Same here. I felt that.
You know?
I felt that, too.
Yeah.
I love decorating the tree. But this part, this whole exchange was the best part of the entire episode.
So Joey tosses tinsel and Anthony freaks out.
Yeah, he like freaks out. Yeah.
I didn't get that though, because he's like, "Oh yeah, it's just tinsel to you, but to me, it's like flying silver with a face."
Yeah, he was like,
"What is happening?"
It was. I guess it was a reference to when he was on drugs. I don't know. It seemed like a really odd reference, but the way that he freaked out when he threw the tinsel was like,
it was super funny.
Yeah.
And then it bridges it to a story about the time Anthony came down the chimney on Christmas, and he's like, "Oh, you think that was on purpose? That was by accident, because I was so high."
Yeah, he's like, "I was trying to find the front door."
And then this may have been the best payoff of any episode of Blossom for me, because it took me a minute to figure this out.
Right?
So they're like, "All right,
same here."
Plug it in to see.
He's like,
Joey tells Anthony.
He's like, "Plug in the lights and let's see if they're working."
And then the lights come on. Like,
yeah.
Anthony's still got his hand on the plug.
Yeah.
And the lights come on, and then they go off, and Joey's like, "They're working. They're not working. They're working. They're not working."
Yeah, and Anthony's like keeps turning back towards the plug to check it to like make sure it's good. And yeah, at first I was like, "Oh, like this is because there was like a ton of plugs in the outlet.
Yeah.
There was like a whole bunch. So I was like, "Oh, okay, like they're like something's happening here." But then
I'm like, they're ripping off Christmas Vacation, right?
Right.
That's where I thought this was going.
Absolutely.
And then it kept going on. And then the audience started, like, laughing harder and harder. And after, like, the 10th time, because it's one long scene.
Yeah.
They're killing themselves. And I'm like, what am I missing? And then it clicked, and I'm just busting a gut.
I know. Yeah, this was so good.
The lights are blinking.
Yeah, this was so good. And don't you feel like the rest of this scene, the way that it played out, was just the actors themselves just riffing with each other?
Totally.
Because there was something at the end where like Joey kept going and be like, "Oh, they're on. Oh, they're off. Oh, they're on. Oh, they're off."
He's just trying to like crack up Anthony, the actor.
I thought this scene was so good. This was the best scene in the whole episode.
And they're just like, nothing else matters because it's Christmas and they're just happy.
Right.
And I felt that.
I love it.
And then I also looked down at the ground because I'm like, oh God, Blossom jokes are going over my head today. Buzz and the gals are baking. He wants to microwave the frozen chicken, and then suddenly the lights in the house go up, and the boys are screaming, and the tree was on fire.
Yeah, okay. Oh, this was the scene where Blossom's acting was so bad. Because
her monologue about how Christmas is ruined?
No, well, this was like, when it cuts to the kitchen, they're in the kitchen trying to prepare the turkey, and the turkey's on the counter, and it's frozen. And Blossom's just like, "Oh, man, we were supposed to thaw it 2 hours ago." I was just like, I don't know, man. Just her reaction to that was just terrible. Her delivery.
Well, that's fair. I didn't notice because I was still like writing about Joey and Anthony.
Yeah, that scene it went from like so good to just so poor. So then, yeah, Buzz tells them to thaw the turkey in the microwave, and then I thought this would be the thing that shuts down the power, but it doesn't. The power goes out, and then they come running into the living room, and the tree completely burned up. And Anthony's putting it out with a fire extinguisher. And again, that's Christmas Vacation-esque too.
That's fair.
And speaking of Christmas Vacation, it comes back around. We'll get to it.
Okay. Then Blossom just suddenly loses her mind. We don't even know she's stressed. And suddenly she just explodes about how Christmas is ruined. And she tells Buzz how humiliating it was to see her dad get pushed around by a 17-year-old headbanging cretin.
Yeah, she uses that word again.
And then Buzz laughs and goes, "That does sound humiliating. I'll have to go see him."
Yeah. I thought that was a good line.
Right? Because he's like, "Oh no, I'll have to go check that out."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really out of character for Blossom to just explode there, because it was like, where did that build from?
Right? Yeah.
You know? And then we go back to the mall, and here we go, Sal. Millie Hortzberg from the cheese store is throwing herself at Nick.
Yes.
And she sexily says, "I have cheese in my pocket." And Nick goes, "I thought you were just glad to see me in case you forgot it was 1992.
Right.
And then he laughs and she doesn't. And she goes, "Oh, but I am."
Yeah. But it was also like, isn't Millie a teenager? What's going on here?
I thought she was older.
I
She
don't
looks
know.
like one of the, and this is terrible timing, poor timing, but she looked like, I don't know if that happens in your malls, but every Christmas we have like this like Ukrainian group that wrap gifts for money as a fundraiser.
Yeah, no, I think that's an out there thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because they're all kind of dressed in their traditional regalia.
Right.
And I thought that's the joke they were making. I'm like, oh, is that the wrapping girl, the Ukrainian like gift wrapper? But no, she was a cheese lady.
Yeah, so then Skunk comes back up and tells Nick that he's not allowed to be socializing while he's on the job. And then he takes
And Nick's like, oh, Skunk, that lady's about to get McCafferty'd. Cheese lady's about to get one hell of a McCafferfying.
Yeah, right? Now where's the back alley?
Right. I'll need to use your office.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
he's riding Nick, and they try to get along, but they can't.
No. So yeah, Nick tries to just like reason with him, and basically Skunk's like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out, and he fires Nick.
But before that, we get some, who wrote this episode?
Don Rio?
Yeah, we get some like Don Rio projecting his own views into this episode, because suddenly out of nowhere Nick is like, yeah, you he's like, I don't like your music. He's like, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer aren't immortal bands. And the audience laughs, but guess what? The joke's on you, you 1991 idiots, because all three of those bands are actually immortal now.
They're still going, man.
And Nick's like, sure, they all wear spandex. I'm like, none of them wear spandex. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
He's like, and they all try to be the best rock band ever, Led Zeppelin. I've never heard him talk about Led Zeppelin before.
Right?
This is just like Rio, just sticking it to someone.
Megadeth and Anthrax and whoever else he's
You know, he thinks they're glam metal bands. And they're not.
That's like I didn't get that at all. He was talking about them like they were like hair metal bands, because he's like, oh, they're
it's
they're
like,
big
Nick,
hair
you're
and
an
their
idiot.
spandex. It's like, this isn't Poison, man. This is, you know.
So he fires Nick, and he's like, "Win big, mama's fallen angel. Every rose has its thorn.
Actually, I loved
Just like every night." What?
Has its dawn. Just
like every cowboy
sings a
sad song. God, Poison are awesome.
Right?
Seriously? Talk Dirty to Me. That's got to be the best song from the 80s. I don't care what anyone says.
I love
Just
doing that.
listen to that song. Listen to that song and know that guy wrote it when he was in grade 10.
I know, man. That's crazy.
And that is the greatest song on Guitar Hero. Anytime I see like the real Guitar Hero in an arcade, I'm like, all right, we're doing this. And I just rock to that song.
That's it used to be a karaoke go-to of mine.
Oh my god.
So good.
Not
man.
a dry eye in the house, right?
Yeah.
Brought that roof down.
Totally. Yeah, so I thought this part was...
army of McCaffertys throwing themselves at you at the front.
Oh, those were the days.
It's crazy times,
So
man.
I thought this part was really funny too, when Skunk says, after he fires Nick and he says he's gonna hire a drummer, and Nick's like, what kind of a drummer can play Christmas music? And he's like, Little Drummer Boy for one. I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, suck it, Nick.
Yeah.
And why is Nick so upset about getting fired on Christmas Eve in the afternoon?
I know,
like,
right?
He had, 2.5 hours left on his last shift?
Yeah.
I did like Skunk, though. Skunk was a fun character.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was like the perfect encapsulation of 1991.
Oh, totally. Or what Don Rio thought was 1991.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably how his grandson's dressed.
The kids are sad that Christmas is ruined, and Nick comes in even sadder. Like,
Yeah.
he's broken. He tries to give a car jack to the kids as a gift. He's an absolute lunatic. He talks about spending the day in the mall and getting everyone gifts and getting them wrapped, and everything was perfect. And then Buzz turns to Joey and goes, "Wait by the phone."
I don't get it. Was Nick supposed to be drunk here?
I don't know. I thought he was just, like, broken, like, mentally.
Yeah.
I don't know where he got all this money to buy gifts and get them wrapped, but he put them in his car and then he was carjacked, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote, "This is quite the lie, Mr. Russo, to cover the fact that you were actually not buying gifts for your family, but banging the cheese lady in the break room."
Totally. Yeah, because after he got fired, he went straight for that cheese lady.
Oh, he destroyed that poor woman.
He probably went with like a
So
missile.
much
He probably
anger.
went with like a mistletoe around his belt.
Let's do this fromage.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought Nick was acting like I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be drunk or just the way that he was acting was so odd.
Yeah, he probably read the script and was like, "I have no idea what to do with this."
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't good. But, like, so his car's stolen? Like, that's the thing? They don't have that car anymore?
Well, if Buzz got in a car accident with it and then it got stolen, that's a pretty shitty week for the Russo car.
Right? And then Nick goes, "This is an awful Christmas. A black Christmas." Whoa, careful, buddy.
Whoa, man, whoa.
So the microwave dings, speaking of black, and Buzz is like, "Uh-oh," because the turkey is burnt to an absolute crisp.
Yeah.
And Blossom swaggers in and goes, "Who wants dark meat?" And the answer, Buzz and Nick.
Yeah, right? Especially Buzz.
Right.
He tried with Tony.
The week we had Tony.
Yeah.
That girl is poison.
Poison.
What was the real? We got that wrong. What was the real Tony song?
They have that song that's like, "It feels good." Do you know that one?
I don't know that one.
You don't know that song?
Don't think so.
Oh, wow. Look up "Feels Good," Tony.
All right. Well, if I look up "feels good," a whole bunch of stuff in my search engine is going to pop back up. So
It's probably not the
might
worst
not
thing
get
in
to
your search engine.
Tony. What?
It's probably not the worst thing in your search engine, let's be honest.
That's what I mean. When I put that in my search engine, it's not going to bring up Tony. It was the joke I was trying to make. All right. So Nick tells the kids to take his last $50 and go get pizza like the droopy dog he is.
Yeah.
So they open. Okay. This right here, Sal. I don't care what has happened in the first 22 minutes of this episode of Blossom, but this is the single greatest joke in probably the entire series.
Let's
So
hear
it's the sad moment. He tells the kids to take the last $50 and go get pizza. How? I don't know, because they don't have a car.
Yeah, right?
The kids walk out the front door, and Buzz follows slowly behind, and then right before he leaves, he comes to a complete stop, and he turns around, and he says to Nick, "You're not going to put your head in the oven, are you?" That was a huge hit for me, man.
That was good stuff.
Like, that checks all my boxes. That is so inappropriate, so dark, so out of left field.
Yet Christmassy.
Right. Then Nick goes, "I wouldn't do anything to cheer you up, Buzz."
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone leaves, and I expected Nick to, honestly, this isn't me doing a bit. I honestly expected the door to close and him to suddenly get a big smile on his face, be back to normal, run into the kitchen, and let the cheese lady in the back door. And I was like,
I never thought about that. I never thought about that. That was a good...
I thought that's where that was leading.
No.
And while they went out to get pizza, he was going to have the best Christmas ever and, bang the cheese lady under the tree.
Yeah, so instead he sits down on the couch and every channel's playing It's a Wonderful Life.
All right, man. The doorbell rings and it's like Bellkeeper Takamoose. He's like, "I'm not from around here.
Ridiculous.
I'm not from around here. I have different traditions than you."
Yeah.
So it's this foreign guy, and it's Jean-Claude dropping off gifts from both their mom and from him.
Yes.
No, they didn't do joint gifts. Jean-Claude, who has never met these kids but is banging their mom, bought his own gifts for kids he's never met.
Yeah.
Finish it up.
Yeah, so then Nick takes the gifts, slams the door in his face, and I know exactly what he's going to do here. And he starts skipping around all happy. He puts the mom's gifts under the tree, and then he starts taking out Jean-Claude's gift to the kids, ripping off the tags, and then writing, "To Blossom, love your loving father," and then sticking the tags onto the gifts that Jean-Claude bought for them. And that's how the episode ends.
I wrote, Nick has an idea. Nick has a horrible idea. Nick has a terribly horrible idea. Because I didn't know what the actual words to the Grinch were, but you get the idea.
I get it, yeah.
And I know what he's doing, and I'm watching him do it, and I'm looking at the time going, there's 50 seconds left. Oh my god. They are ending the first ever Blossom Christmas episode with Nick stealing gifts from his mom's stupid boyfriend. Right. And like, how is this ever going to work? You don't think the next time they talk to their mom, she's going to be like, did you get the gifts from me and Jean-Claude?
Yeah.
And the dad's going to be like the biggest loser. But we don't worry about that right now, because that's it. That's how the first ever Christmas episode of Blossom ends, with their dad being a broke loser, humiliated by working in a mall and being fired by Joey's teenage friend, going home and regifting gifts from his mom's lover, or from his ex-wife's lover.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Blossom fans. This is what you get.
I
don't know what you were expecting.
Just like the car, the gifts don't pay off.
Right? Like, what was that? It was like script tornado.
I told you, man. It was a poorly written script.
Yet kind of charming. The fact that it was Christmas and that scene with Joey and Anthony and the ending of like, you're not going to put your head in the oven, are you?
Yeah, those were two bright
sins.
spots in a pretty bleak episode, I thought.
The lingerie scene with Six was pretty dark. It's like they didn't think anything through.
No.
Everyone wanted to go home in December early, so like, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Let's just let the old man Rio write this episode.
Roxy Wink Evans' joke suggestions were just getting pushed through. They were not vetted.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, because Joey would bang the mannequin without a head. Right?
But then, Curtis...
they're like, Roxy, you're nuts. Like, go drink some water.
But then we get...
Roxy, we talked about this.
We get a tag on this episode.
And it's like, where can we possibly go from here to make this episode even weirder?
Right?
Right?
So yeah, Santa is down by the tree, putting gifts under the tree. And the kids are on the stairs being like, oh, look, it's Dad putting gifts under the tree. Like, why would he dress up like Santa, first of all? And then they turn...
The best part, though, is the credits are rolling.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Because they turn around and see Nick on the stairs behind them, and they're like, oh, what? That must be really Santa. And then I thought, oh, it's going to be Buzz, but it wasn't. And then Santa turns to the camera and says Merry Christmas as the camera zooms in. But the credits are over his face the entire time. You can't even see his face.
No, but what I was going to say is that when they're like, oh, it's Dad down there in a suit, as you're watching the credits before the reveal, it says Santa as Santa himself.
I didn't notice that. But yeah, I love how it just zoomed in on his face. He was like, Merry Christmas, everyone. And it was like a Junger Wit production, right over his face. You couldn't even see it.
It was like the writers and the editors just played hot potato with this episode. Like every 5 minutes, the bell went off and they all had to like get out of the car and run in circles and get in a different seat. Oh my God.
A Christmas classic that was not. I'm sorry to tell you.
You didn't. I guess I wasn't good this year after all, because this is what I got in my stocking.
Yeah.
I don't ever need to see it again, but it was amusing for maybe the wrong reasons to me.
It had its little moments, but overall, I thought it was a very bad episode of Blossom. And a bad Christmas episode in general.
I agree. It was a bad episode of Blossom. It was a bad Christmas Carol. But it was entertaining as...
Now that
I don't know where that...
Now that I can't take away from you.
I don't know if that makes it a win or a loss, but I was enjoying it in ways I don't usually enjoy this show.
Fair enough, man.
To do it, roll credits. Chance Quinn as Skunk.
Yes.
Did you look any of these people up?
I did. So we got
Okay.
Chance Quinn as Skunk. We have Quinn Cummings as Millie. We have
Who's Millie?
Millie was the cheese cart girl.
Oh, yeah, the cheese lady.
Yeah.
Right.
Jesse Dabson was the cop. I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was funny.
I was just going to say, I couldn't find anything interesting about any of these people.
Except, we can tie it back to Christmas Vacation. Jean-Claude was played by Nicholas Guest, who was in Christmas Vacation.
Really?
He was Todd, the neighbor, who was married to Elaine.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
Yeah.
There it is. We got the guy from Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
This thing will write itself.
Why's the floor all wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot. And I guess
Chance Quinn.
I guess nobody's really... Is Skunk in the pit? I guess Skunk's in the pit.
Yeah. Chance Quinn was in Stand By Me, actually. That's
Oh,
pretty
really?
good.
Interesting.
And Guest, that played Jean-Claude. Did you know his parents were the 4th Baron Hayden Guest and Jean-Pauline Hindes?
I did not know that.
I wish my dad was the 4th Baron. Hell, I wish my dad was the 2nd Baron.
Yeah.
I wish my dad was the Red Baron. I wish my dad was Buzz.
Yeah, right?
All right, let's put a bow on this. Where do we go next?
Yeah, sorry, man. I'll take notes next time, I promise.
That's good, man. That 1 week I didn't have notes either, but then that was when my record crashed, right?
Yeah.
That was like the half episode.
No,
Yeah.
I have no excuse. I was just crazy busy. It is what it is.
All right.
We made it, though.
Yeah, man.
Season 2,
did
episode
it.
14 is coming up next. It's called The Test, and it's the first Blossom episode of 1992, Curtis. We're out of 1991,
Grunge is creeping up on us, my friend.
right?
Right?
Let's see what 1992 brings.
The Test.